If you've ever felt stuck in that cycle of buying, decluttering, and somehow ending up with the same amount of stuff again, this video is for you. A few years ago, every cupboard and closet in our home was full, and as a tidy person, I couldn't understand why it never stayed that way. I would declutter, reorganize, and somehow end up right back where I started just a few months later. I hadn't quite figured out how to make our space truly reflect the minimalist values that we wanted to live by. But eventually, I realized that decluttering wasn't the issue, it was the way we were buying stuff. So I started paying more attention to what we let into our home rather than just what we took out. And that simple shift changed the way that our home feels. Calmer, lighter, and so much easier to maintain, even with two small children around. It all comes down to one habit I call the clutter filter. It's not a rule or a challenge, but rather a way of thinking that helps us pause before we bring anything new into our home. And today I'm going to share exactly how it works and what the results look like in each room of our minimalist family home. Before we jump into exactly what the clutter filter is, I want to take a second to thank today's sponsor, Lanier. It's a jewelry brand that I discovered a few years back and I've been wearing ever since. If you've seen my previous videos, you've probably seen my wedding band as well as this J pendant necklace that I'm wearing. These are from Lanier and I've been wearing them almost every single day for the past 4 years. When we were searching for wedding bands, I wanted something really dainty, but that would last the test of time, which is pretty hard to find these days, but this one from Lanier fit the description perfectly and it has held up beautifully. It's made of 14K solid gold and lab-grown diamonds, and all of their pieces are hypoallergenic and nickel-free, which makes them really comfortable for everyday wear. What I appreciate most though is how their designs are simple, timeless, and super easy to layer. I love that I can put on all of my pieces from them and look put together without feeling overdone. These new earrings are small enough that I can sleep in them, which as a mom of two is a tiny win. And this new bracelet is dainty but sturdy. I love how small it is, but it really does give a nice shine in the light. Their gold vermeil jewelry is made with a sterling silver base and a thick layer of 22K gold on top, so it gives it that nice warm tone without the high maintenance factor. This necklace in particular is made of that gold vermeil, and I've worn it countless times through the shower with lotion on. I've sprayed perfume on it and it's not showing any signs of tarnishing. They also use 100% recycled gold and silver. They use recycled materials for their packaging, and they offset the carbon emissions for every shipment. Lanier's whole philosophy really aligns with an intentional approach to shopping. Fewer items, better quality, and items that are designed to last. So when the time comes that you're looking to invest in pieces that you'll love for years, the kind that add beauty without clutter, I will have a link and a code below for you to explore their pieces. Now let's get into step 1 of the clutter filter, because understanding why we buy in the first place is really where intentional living begins. Most clutter doesn't start in our homes, it starts in our minds. Before anything ever ends up in a drawer or on a shelf, we've already convinced ourselves that we need it. A cute mug, a new basket, or a better version of something that we already have. So when that feeling hits, it helps to ask a few questions. Am I buying this because of something that I saw on social media or because of a new trend? Am I buying this out of stress, boredom, or a feeling of insecurity? And did I plan to buy this before I saw it? That simple pause can stop so many impulse buys because most of the time it's not need, it's emotion. It's almost funny how a 30-second reel can turn into a $300 cart. But even once we've learned to pause, there is another trap. Believing that just because something seems useful, it automatically deserves a place in our home. The next step is asking whether something is actually useful or just nice to have. We've all been there, buying the baskets, the bins, and the trays, thinking they'll finally keep us organized, when in reality, they usually just become more stuff to manage. Buying a bin to store clutter doesn't make it less clutter, it makes it more expensive clutter. So instead, we can pause and ask, do I already own something that does the same job? Where will this live? Do I even have a space for it right now? And have I decluttered something like this before? Practicality is where minimalism meets reality because it's not about owning nothing, it's about keeping what genuinely works. But even if something is practical, that doesn't always mean it belongs because sometimes things just don't match the life that we're actually living. And this is where things get personal. For most of us, clutter comes from shopping for a version of ourselves that doesn't exist. The person who entertains more, the person who dresses differently, or the person who has endless time for hobbies. We've all been there. But what if before we bought those fantasy self items, we asked, does this fit the lifestyle that I live right now? Could I borrow, rent, or find it secondhand instead? And is it good quality or something that I'll have to replace soon? Because when we start buying for who we are rather than who we think we should be, everything changes. Not just what we own, but how we feel in our homes. And still, even the most aligned purchase comes with a cost, and that's where the next step matters. Every purchase costs more than just money. It costs time, energy, and space. We've all had that drawer cabinet that fills up with just-in-case items and half-used products that we swore we would love. The only thing multiplying faster than our skincare is our guilt for not using it. So now we can ask, how many hours of work does this represent and is it worth it? Will this simplify my life or just add another item to manage? When we start measuring value in terms of peace of mind rather than price, our shopping naturally slows down. And as we make those slower, steadier choices, something shifts. We begin thinking less about wanting and more about what's going to last. The last step is thinking beyond the moment. It's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of new. I have felt it so many times myself, but it does help to think about how the purchase is going to feel weeks or months, even years down the road. So when we're purchasing, we can ask, how often will I realistically use this? Will it still add value once the novelty wears off? And will it hold up through different seasons or stages of life? This long-term thinking applies everywhere in the home, from the tools that we use in our kitchen to the furniture that we choose, even the toys that our children grow with. And it's what can help to create a home that is calm, grounded, and built to last. The phrase shop with intention gets thrown around a lot in the minimalism space, but this is how we can actually put that into action. The clutter filter isn't about restriction, it's about awareness, a simple pause that can help us choose with intention rather than impulse. And at first, I know it can be tedious, pulling out a list of questions every time you want to buy something new, but over time, it does become second nature. The more we practice, the quicker it gets until it's just the way we think. And that is how we stop filling our homes with stuff we don't need. Thank you again to Linear for supporting this video. I will have my link and discount code below for those of you wanting to explore their pieces. If you're in the process of creating a simpler, calmer home and you also enjoy minimalism content, I've got lots of that here for you, so I would love for you to subscribe and stay a while. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you in the next one.